Hi Geminis, and welcome to your June 2021 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on today to talk to you about the month of June for you and get some really poignant tarot messages coming in. I'm so happy to be coming on. I always enjoy doing the sign of which the season is. It is currently Gemini season, and we are going to be talking about what that means for you in this reading. I'll be getting some intuitive messages and also looking at some week-to-week tarot insights. So let's dive right in. For those of you who are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button below and turn on the bell notifications. And as always, your likes, comments, and subscribes make my day as well. So let's see, Gemini in the month of June. So this should be a very light and cordial month for you. I'm feeling that this is almost like a record high positivity coming in if you allow it. January through May of this year was a lot about purging out negative energy or detoxing yourself or allowing certain things to dissipate from your life. And to a degree, June through August are also that, but it should be much less, and there should already start to be some degree of easier, happier, more confident experiences coming in, more worldly experiences coming in, as you start to kind of fade out of this previous purging phase. So I've been thinking for quite a few months now that Gemini season was one of the nicest, lightest periods of time, just collectively and generally. And I do think that it's the case. Of course, we're coming from a very hectic eclipse season as well, and we will be having another eclipse in June as well. So it is something that is not necessarily light for everyone, but I think that the eclipses really mark an opportunity to shift our health and to shift what we feel is off into a better territory. So basically, it's a great Gemini season, great month for you to lighten your load, to not take on as much difficult, heavy experiences, and to really see a difference in your health. As I'm looking at your tarot cards, Gemini, we've got a few things coming up. We've got the Tower, we've got Ten of Wands, we've got Six of Pentacles reversed, and the rest of the cards other than that are very light, breezy, and gentle. I do think that many of you perhaps have taken on too much, or you're trying to make your energy do too much, and it's like by doing less or by refining smaller energy outputs, you can actually create a much more grand result than by just doing so much. It's like quality versus quantity stuff coming up, and many of you are very much dialed into quantity right now. Which is not always a bad thing, but I will say it seems recommended that in June that you dial back your quantity and try to breathe more quality into your creative process. Pulling back on work or doing a bit less with your time is also seeming very positive so that you can have a lighter feeling. It's almost like it takes this lighter feeling and maybe you have to really push to give yourself that in order to actually make things feel better, okay? I'm just sensing that having a completely full schedule, working a lot of overtime or anything like that is not in time. Again, we had good opportunities for that over the last 2 years to get ahead, to work more, to feel significance within, those 60, 70-hour work weeks. But I don't think that many people can really get significance from that now. I think that it's about less hours and more quality within those hours. Also, you're going to be coming full circle on something this month, and you're getting luck from that. You've got the World and the Wheel of Fortune coming up as your other major arcana cards, which says that you are at an ending phase and that you have luck within what you are about to begin. I love that combination, the World and Wheel of Fortune. It's like a really helpful worldview. Maybe some of you are having a change in philosophy or ideology, and it's helping you more. Like it's a better, more helpful, more ascending outlook on life. Maybe you're not wasting so much energy on thinking about what other people think of you, or not losing so much energy in thinking about how you can have closure in your life. Instead, you're directing your gaze forward, it looks like, and you're thinking about the new chapters instead of thinking so much about the past. And there is an opportunity this month to have something fall through, but it only helps you in the long run. I feel nothing but lighter positive vibes for Gemini. And it's weird, it's not weird, but it's interesting to see the Tower, the Ten of Wands, Six of Pentacles reversed coming in and kind of illustrating this tendency to take on too much, or this tendency to over-energize or over-give, even with Six of Pentacles reversed. And then with the Tower coming in, there's a collapse, there's a fall, there's a change in how you tend towards your life, in the routines that you have. And I think that it has to be positive. And I think if you're identifying some degree of, anxiety around maybe not having the most stability or not having the most consistency, it's just a good thing to remind yourself that that's not a very numerous commodity right now. Security, stability. We've got a lot of air energy. We've got a lot of Aquarius, Pisces energy, which says that there's sudden shifts, sudden, very long-running, multiple people-driven experiences that are not evocative of energy like Capricorn. We've had so much Capricorn energy. We've still got Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which is like those same constant, repetitive, stable things. And it's just, we can't get too distracted by our needs for stability right now, actually. We have to move on and understand some of the new essences that are kind of begging to come into our life. So taking on a new essence, I would say, is a really big part of this month. And leveling up your emotional spectrum in regards to that, meaning you don't want to get emotionally freaked out by maybe something that falls through, or by a routine that changes, or even a job that changes, or something like that. You want to see it as an opportunity, or see it as a blessing that this has not lasted, because it feels like it was really over, or it was just asking too much from you. Okay, Geminis, let's talk about the week to week. So week number 1 of June, you've got the World rooted down by Six of Pentacles reversed. So you have a new outlook regarding give and take, regarding compromises, regarding what you rely on others for, or what others rely on you for. So the Six of Pentacles, if you look at that card, especially in the upright, you see power dynamics. You see who's relying on who for what, who is a giving person, who, it can also be like debt. It can be, because if you think of that, it's kind of like, okay, I might rely on debt to give me what I need to make my life work. This card also deals a lot with intermediary people or events, as well as liaisons, what's on the outside. Like for example, when you get debt, the bank is like this sort of Six of Pentacles vibe, where it's acting as this sort of intermediary entity between you and, money. Okay. We want to close those gaps a little bit right now. We want more so, I think, to get rid of some of these intermediary things, like who's standing between me and abundance, who's standing between me and health as well. You can look at this in that way too, like where maybe this relationship or this person in your life is becoming the giver or the liaison of your health through how you think about them, or how much you're becoming reliant on a family member, whether that be financially or as for security. Basically in the first week of June, Gemini, you want to really review where your reliances stand. What is your source of health, wealth, happiness? Good to look at those things and make some decisions for sure, because you're going to see through anything that's not fair. Sometimes in life, we have to rely on the bank. Sometimes in life, we have to rely on the family member. There's no human that has been 100% independent at every phase of their lives. That's, part of the human condition and experience is working with these types of archetypes. And all we can do, at times, especially when we might have to rely more on family, or we might have to rely more on some sort of different funding source or something, all we can do is make sure that we're not overtaking or over borrowing or overdoing it and placing more of our control over to these intermediaries than we had to. Okay. So really look at that. I think in the first week of June, you're going to maybe have like a redoing of your budget or redoing. That's a great thing for the first week of June, actually. We're going to be in a Mercury retrograde in your sign. So it's going to really make you look back at how you've been thinking about like your budget, how you've been thinking about your spending habits, how you've been thinking about your reliances. So look back at it and just think about how it makes you feel. Because in a way, it seems like you don't have to be reliant. The World is one of the most powerful major arcana cards. It's one of the most independent cards as well. And it is about self-empowerment. So, and coming to the end of a phase through that, I think that maybe a lot of you don't have to rely anymore. I think that a lot of you maybe don't need everything that you're convincing yourself of either. So just maybe parse through things, look through your life and see what you want to maybe make more independent. So it's really nice energy. I've got to say, it's actually getting you a lot more healthy and powerful, okay, through making sure that you're not over relying on people who maybe just want you to rely on them, because that gives them a little bit more control. Week number 2, you've got the King of Swords reversed, rooted down by Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so King of Swords reversed, that also makes sense for Mercury retrograde. That is like the energy of Mercury retrograde in Gemini. By the second week of June, you want to have tied things up. You want to have put a bow on things, because I'm feeling that by that point in time, that's really the depth of the Mercury retrograde. It lasts until June 22nd. I have a video about Mercury retrograde, which I'll link below and in the top right-hand corner for you guys to check back on if you haven't seen it. But by that point in time in the second week, you don't want to really be parsing through things anymore. You don't really want to be making big changes. And, by July, you'll already be able to, again, if you need to. But I can see a bit of confusion in the second week. I can see a bit of typos. Like it's like the energy of a typo or the energy of, maybe missing a detail or something. King of Swords reversed. Though it's rooted down by the Wheel of Fortune. So you're lucky and you're lucky in it. Like maybe it's a lucky typo. Maybe it's a typo that ends up somehow benefiting you. Or it seems like your mistakes are actually beneficial to you at this time. So, it's kind of like super powerful stuff there. It's almost like even if you do things wrong, it like works out in your favor or something, but take that with an enormous grain of salt. I'm not saying that Geminis need to go and start like, purposefully messing up or just taking risks with the sort of knowledge that whatever I do, I'm going to be lucky. But I mean, arguably it's perhaps true, but with a grain of salt, don't be too harsh on yourself or don't be too strict on what you're putting out or what you're dealing with at that time. Also, in the second week, you want to think about your feeling of fortune. Like, are you feeling lucky right now? Are you feeling like life is supporting you? When we're on our life purpose path, there's this typically constant feeling of support and good fortune. Even if we don't have $1 million, even if we don't have, all those accolades and stuff, there's usually a feeling of like, yeah, the universe is really holding up this path. If you feel like you're having to hold up the path or having to hold up, the weight of the world on your shoulders just to like barely get through this, maybe it's not the best place for focus anymore. Maybe you need a bit of a difference, okay? Week 3, you've got the Tower rooted down by 10 of Wands, and that's exactly what I was just talking about. So you're definitely already feeling that at that point in time. Holding up the weight of the world, okay? It can't. It's going to get too heavy. It's going to do damage. Okay, you got to lighten your load a little bit if you haven't already. And this isn't just you, Gemini. This is kind of like a Gemini season thing, because Gemini season wants us lighter. I'm getting chills. It wants us so much lighter. Like so many people are still in that 2020 Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and Capricorn heavy, holding up the weight of the world, taking on way too much, working themselves in a way that's not sustainable, spending in ways that are not sustainable, borrowing in ways that are not sustainable, being way too grandiose in a lot of ways. We got to lighten it down. We got to minimize. We got to embrace a little bit more minimalism, it feels like. And your sign is all about that. Gemini is one of the lightest, most minimalist signs. And you got to give that to yourself by the third week. Otherwise, it's going to be like too much to handle. Okay, and I think a lot of you've already been incrementally doing this over this entire year, in which case you're going to see a lot of good luck and you're going to see a lot of positive results and surplus in the third week. But if you've still been forcing really heavy things, if you've been overworking yourself, overspending, overborrowing, and beholden to impulses as well within that. You can see a bit of a taking at that time, or that there can even be like the loss of a funding source, the loss of a job, or the loss of something just to force a bit of a lighter situation from the universe, which would ultimately end up being a gift. But, anyway, moving on. Very interesting third week, though. It's going to really get you straight. It's really going to adjust your life in the way that it needs to be. Fourth week, you've got Queen of Cups rooted down by Page of Pentacles. Okay, I love that. It's like suddenly things get a little bit more mundane. Suddenly you might be meeting new people. You might be meeting water signs or earth signs. Also, you might be healing relationships with water or earth signs, relating to people outside of you. Court cards in the tarot can either be people outside of you or aspects of your own personality. So looking more at Gemini, this is like getting more emotionally mature. And then also having a new source of income, perhaps, or with Page of Pentacles, like a new lease on life, or a new lease, so something that gives you a better sense of value. So it's also much lighter, already from the third to the fourth week, it's a much lighter experience. It's a much more minimalist way. It's a much more pared down, calibrated, optimized experience. So for those of you who are like operating anything, like for those of you who are like business owners, or having your focus in so many different places, or not even just business owners, that can be so many different types of people, maybe even everyone to a degree right now. It's kind of very ADHD, it's like having your focus in so many different places, having to deal with so many different things. You want to really take heed to making this as simple as possible, to making this as refined and small as possible, because I'm sensing a lot of people really overcomplicating what they're doing. As like a business owner, it's like, okay, I've got to have like all these different components of my business. I've got to have all these different presences in all these different places and all these different managerial processes, and like overcomplicating it, it's really good to pare things down and make them as simple as possible, for sure. And by the fourth week, you're going to be really naturally undertaking that, okay? This month we've got so many retrogrades. We've got, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, so we've got a lot of retrogrades coming in, and more throughout the summer. So we're getting things better in our lives. We're making our lives better this summer. Lives are being made better this summer through sometimes the universe really pushing us there, really, serving us up a lot of sudden changes. But anyway, Gemini, happy Gemini season. It's meant to be light. It's meant to be easy. It's meant to be fun. Give yourself those light, easy, fun experiences. And anyway, without further ado, I'm going to be doing an extended reading on Patreon for you all. You can click the center of your screen or find it linked below. We'll look at a central theme as well as two supporting themes and understand some more about these changes. I do weekly forecasts on Patreon as well as other bonus content, so be sure to check it out. It's very reasonable. Let's jump over and do that now. Much love, Geminis. Bye.